Hello and welcome to our scholarly articles PowerPoint. This is completely dedicated to researching and finding scholarly articles and how to read them. If you are looking for not scholarly article sources, but just general internet credible sources, go back to that introduction to research PowerPoint and you can find some tips and exercises for finding those there. But this one is all about scholarly sources. Okay, so actually doing the work of finding a scholarly article, where do we do that? I discussed this in that introduction to research PowerPoint, but I wanted to review it with you. So you go here to the library, website. And you'll see this box here that says search anything on Primo. This is where you can search your topic. So let's say my topic is climate change, and it will come up for you this page here that has a list of different sources. And if you come over here, this is how you actually find the scholarly articles. They're called peer-reviewed journals. You click that, and you want them to be available online so that you can read them without any issue. And you click apply filters, and then that will take you to some scholarly sources. These are, you can come down here and specifically choose articles because we don't want books. And now we've got all of our scholarly journal articles. So this is what I'm going to be talking about today when I discuss scholarly sources, peer-reviewed journal articles. All of this is stuff that you find through the library website that says it's peer-reviewed, and it is from some sort of scholarly academic journal that has published this article. So, if we come back over here, I discussed this in the last research PowerPoint, but popular sources for review are written for a general audience. They're shorter. They might be breaking news articles. They might be blog posts. They don't always cite their sources. And they have slightly less, or sometimes a lot less, credibility than a scholarly source. So scholarly sources are written for professional researchers, academics, and experts. It's detailed information based on evidence and research. A lot of time, these articles are actually detailing studies, research studies that these academics or professional researchers have done. They're usually longer. They cite their sources at the end, just like you do. And they are found in peer-reviewed journal articles or books published by academic presses. For this assignment, you will not have to read a book, and please don't cite a book because I know you don't have time to read one. They should all be those peer-reviewed journal articles that you find by clicking articles over on the side. These are also all going to be fact-checked, so you know that they've gone through an extensive process in order to have their credibility ensured. So when you're looking at how to read a scholarly article, you should first think about the audience. And this is something that goes for how you should approach reading anything. You should approach this scholarly source as if you know it's going to be more difficult to read. It's going to take more time to read because these writers are not writing towards you as an audience. They're writing towards fellow academics and fellow professional researchers who already know the jargon. They know how to talk about these topics. So it's important that you come into this thinking, I'm going to have to devote a little more time to understanding what this means. It won't be easy, but in the end, it's worth it because of the amount of credibility it can lend to your essay. So when you're reading a scholarly source, you should start with the title. That will hopefully help you learn what is this article about. So let's say I know my reading is going to be about climate change and more specifically how it's affecting the Arctic. So I find a scholarly article that's titled Evaluating Observed and Projected Future Climate Changes for the Arctic Using the Köppen-Trewortha Climate Classification. So this tells me the subject matter of the article. It's something about future climate changes in Africa, or not Africa, the Arctic. And it also tells me something about the methodology or the way that the author approaches the subject. So it's going to be using this classification system that I know I'm going to have to look up in order to understand. So depending on whether or not there's a lot of other articles that look promising, I may or may not skip this one because it's using this classification method that I have no idea what it means. Next thing that you want to look at is the abstract. So this is a specialized summary that answers certain questions. Firstly, whatever the main problem of the article is or the main question they're trying to answer, their approach, how did they do the work that they're going to write about, whatever shiny new thing this author does that sets them apart from previous research, and why people who are already invested in this field should care about this article. It's really important that you do not pull quotes from the abstract. This is really lazy research, and it usually results in me being able to tell you didn't actually read or understand this article. You just read the abstract and decided, I'm going to pull a quote from here because that'd be easier. Don't do that. That is bad research. The next thing you should look at is the introduction. So if they're doing their job really well, it should summarize the whole piece, present the main idea, tell us why we should care, and it will also offer a roadmap for the rest of the article. This is through the thesis statement. Just like you have to do a thesis statement in your introduction, so do these people. So their thesis statement should tell you what is their research question or what are they trying to prove. And it's usually in that paragraph in the introduction right before the break to a new section. And you can look for certain phrases that signal the thesis statement, like in this review, or we set out to prove, we investigated, this study attempts to blah, blah, blah. Next thing that you can look for as you're deciding whether or not a scholarly article is worth including in your essay is section headings. So there are section headings that are little mini titles for parts of your articles. And it can tell you what trajectory this article is going in, what kind of content comes into each section. And this is something that's important to read before you decide I'm going to, put all my eggs in one basket and definitely use this article. You should read through the section headings. Last thing that you should look at when you're deciding whether or not it's going to be helpful to you is the conclusion. So what exactly did they find? The conclusion can not only tell you did they accomplish whatever they were trying to prove or find, but it also can help make sure that you understood the introduction because they'll rephrase what they said in the introduction and their main arguments in a different way, and that can often lead to you having a better understanding of what they're trying to prove, what their argument is, what they actually found by doing this research. Last thing about scholarly articles here is citing them. This is APA format here, and I've also linked that on your 2 sources and summaries assignment for this week. But you should have their last name and first name here at the beginning, and then the year it was published, the title of the article, the title of the periodical, the volume, page numbers, and DOI. It is not acceptable to just link the article and do that only. You should have APA formatted citations for any sort of source you have, but definitely for these credible scholarly article sources. And you need to make sure you have the DOI, not just the link from your browser, because that will not actually pull up the article. For me, it will only link to the library website. So to sum up, I'll open up this tab here, and just really quick, I will go through what exactly the scholarly article will look like. So you can see here I've opened up this Nature article, and down here it tells me I can view it online. I'm gonna go here. You'll probably have to log in to BCTC here beforehand. So you just do that really quick, and then it'll take you to the scholarly article. I like to view mine as PDFs if I can, but I don't see the option to do that here on this one, so I won't do that. But as you can see, they've got their different sections. So this first section is going to be the introduction, and then they go into their methodology. So you can see they've got their section headings here, and they're going to be talking about different methods that they use. And then they've got a bunch of figures. This is a pretty short article, actually. And then at the very end, they have this long list of references. So that's about what the scholarly articles will generally look like. You can find some that are in PDFs that look a lot prettier, but this is what they look like in plain text. And remember, when you're looking for the thesis statement, you generally want to look at that paragraph right before at the end of the introduction, before the first break, and then you can come down and look at the conclusion if you would like to have the introduction reworded. Okay, so that sums up the scholarly articles PowerPoint. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always email me. Otherwise, good luck on researching and drafting for this final essay of the semester.